All right, hey, fourth grade. All right, it's time for our math lesson, so let's get started. We're going to be talking about estimating again today. We've been doing it all week, so you are ready to rock and roll and show your understanding today. Before we even get to the numbers, let's start by reviewing what an estimate is. An estimate is whenever we get an approximate number from a problem to make it easier to work with. So we'll look at our numbers and say, okay, do we need to round up or down with this number to make it easier to work with? And why we do this is we want to be able to solve problems at a quicker rate. So whenever we estimate, we're going to be looking for those key words. We're going to be looking for about, approximately, close to. Those are signal words that show that we need to round our numbers first before we do any kind of adding. So today, we're not only going to be looking at addition problems, we're also going to be looking at subtraction problems. Now, both times we're going to have to estimate our numbers before we do any kind of solving. Remember, always round before you solve when you're estimating. So let's get started. So we're going to be estimating these problems. Okay, let's start with an addition problem. You guys have been really doing a great job at this, but now let's show our work when we're stacking our numbers. So let's start with 659 plus 362. Okay? Now, if we are going to estimate this problem, we need to round both numbers. And remember, that squiggly line, that means estimate. Okay? So that means we're going to estimate those numbers. We're going to round them up so we can get an estimate of what our sum is. 659. Well, I know if we're rounding to the largest place value, which is our hundreds place, we're going to look at our tens place. And that's going to tell us our rule. Remember, 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. All right, so we have a 5 in our tens place. That means our 6 is going to raise by 1 point. So it's going to become 700. You could also think about it on a number line. Is 659 closer to 600 or 700? Well, 659 is going to land about right here. And it's going to be closer of a jump to get to 700. All right, so we've rounded our first number. We're almost ready to find our sum. Our next number is 362. We're looking at the largest place value we have, our hundreds place. We're going to look at our tens, our 6. Okay, that's 5 or more, so we're going to raise our score. Okay, that 6 turns that 3 into a 4. The rest becomes zeros. Now we have our addition problem, and we're ready to estimate what is the answer going to be. So 0 plus 0, 7 plus 4 is 11. Our answer is 1,100. Now just to check, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to do my addition problem without estimating the answer to see if it's anywhere close. 9 plus 2 is 7, 5 plus 6 is 11, 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 11. 1,117. Our estimate was 1,100. Pretty close.
Actually, ma'am, that unrounded arithmetic is not correct. Let me help you. You see, 9 plus 2 is 11. Drop your 1, carry your group of 10. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 1 is 12. Drop your 2, carry your group of 10. 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Therefore, your answer is 1,021. Pretty close, Bob.
All right, so we just finished doing an addition problem and estimating the answer and then finding out was the actual answer close or not. And we actually were. So now let's move on to subtraction. Now here's the key. It's just like addition, except you're going to subtract your rounded numbers. We're still going to round first. Remember, in estimating, you always round first. But you're going to do the subtraction to find the difference after you round. So let's start with a practice problem. Let's do 895 minus 132. All right, there's our subtraction problem, okay? So let's find the estimate of these numbers, the rounded numbers. Okay, there's our squiggly worm that shows that this is an estimate, not the exact answer. Well, 895, we're going to look in our biggest place value. That's our hundreds place. Look over to the one next to it. Hey, remember our rhyme. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Okay? Well, that In that tens place, there's a 9. That's definitely 5 or more. So that 9 is going to make that 8. Raised by 1. The rest becomes zeros. Let's look at our bottom number. We have a 1 in our hundreds place. Okay, but we're not going to look there. We're going to look at the one next to it. Okay, we have a 3, 4 or less. Okay, that means our 1 is going to stay. It's going to rest at what it is. All right, so it's going to become a 100. You could also think of it, remember, on a number line. Some of us work better with number lines, and that's okay. If we have 100 and 200, okay, 132 is going to be about right here. That is a closer jump to 100 than a jump to 200, okay? So now we have our rounded numbers, okay? And now, remember, as a subtraction, we're going to subtract our two rounded numbers to find the estimate of the difference. All right, 0 minus 0, 0 minus 0, 9 minus 1 is 8. 800 is the estimate of this problem. Well, let's figure out what is the actual answer. 5 minus 2 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 5 minus 2 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. 8 minus 1 is 7. 763. That's pretty close to 800. So we did a good job of finding the estimate of this problem. All right, guys, that was a real quick review of how to estimate subtraction and addition problems. Like I've said, you've done this all week. You are ready to go. You know how to do this. I want you to listen to your teachers for the rest of the day, and I want you to practice that estimating. Awesome job.